Welcome, everyone, to the second of our first parts adventure for today in the Casters and Castles community adventure of Curse of Tamreon. I am joined by my wonderful community members, Aaron and Ari and Amber and Joe, otherwise known by their tags that I mess up because I'm not used to saying things out loud because I read when I am doing Discord. Hello, everybody. How you doing?
Good.
Well.
I'm good. Yeah, doing good.
Excellent. Wonderful. Well, when we last left our heroes, we did quite a bit of time traveling, but at this point, we're going to be putting that to a halt. After I do one last bit of time traveling, that is. We are going to be making our way... Where is that? Here we is. Boom. It has been several weeks since your group had left the town of Halloween. You made your way through the region, the forested and plained region of Strigair, made your way down into the jungles and fetid swamps of Dorsois. Depending on how you did so, you would have either gone through the coast and over the mountains, taking the safer path, but it would take quite a bit longer. Or you would take the quicker but more dangerous path by going along the battle lines, being able to utilize the roads that Koldar and the Granuian dynasty have built in order to carry their supplies to the front. That being said, you are powerful adventurers who have much experience, and you have a lot of fog giving you some cover, because most of this is in the wilds of the world. And with the assistance that you have received from your recent companion Chi, you were able to utilize the Cardinal Sin, the drug that was formulated in order to help you combat the distractions of the mist and make your way through. You find yourself now in the southern continent, and I probably better go ahead and share a quick little map because I've been talking a lot about all these different places that I don't think anybody really knows what I'm saying here. So let's just take a quick gander, why don't we? Be helpful if you go to the map area, Matt. There we go. That's what we're looking for.
I have one question for Marin.
Yes, certainly.
I'm not sure if they trust this drug or not, which sounds hilariously like Juggernaut, but I don't know if it would be like an insight to determine if I actually trust this person to allow this drug to hit me, or if I just kind of don't and I just know that I'm generally fine navigating these places on my own.
Yeah, certainly. If you would like, go ahead and make an insight check. And Amber, if you could go ahead and either give me a perception or a deception check based off of what your intention is, either if you're trying to help or maybe lure your newfound ally into a false sense of security.
Sorry, with the cats.
Oh,
Persuasion or deception?
Okay. Persuasion.
Wow, that's quite a roll there.
20.
Okay,
So
so
I will also say to help that a little bit, Japachi did use it right away. Like, as you guys were walking into the fog for the very first time, right after she talked about it. So she did use it right in front of you.
That's fair, just Marin is infinitely suspicious of everything all the time.
And then just to remind you, Chi, you only have 6 doses of this incredibly rare and expensive drug. And you've only just started your journey, leaving some of the areas that you've already made your way through. So did you actually still want, knowing that, go ahead and use that? Knowing that you may not be able to get any further
she
doses? Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Just kind of showing that it's safe and that, this is a good thing to use. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, as long as everybody joins you, we're going to mark off 3 doses of the drug, meaning you'll have 3 remaining. However, for the first leg of your journey, you had benefited from 8 hours of advantage on all of your ability checks, whereas your companions, for an hour, were able to benefit from advantage on their ability checks, making it to where the fog had little to no effect on any of you, at least in regards to your perceptiveness. You still suffered the whispers and the dissent that was creeping into your mind, but for the most part, you were able to shrug that away. Again, many of you, even without this drug, make your way through the wilds of Tamreon. Maybe not unscathed, but definitely alive. And as you make your way across the world, just giving a quick little overview, we have here in the northern reaches of the continent of Tamreon, this is Strigair, the forest and temperate plains area of this continent, and there is a multitude of various cultures, nations, both peaceful and warring, and numerous, you could say, enclaves or territories that belong to the various resolved spirits that inhabit that area. And your group is making your way down to the region of Dorswa. Now, you would have been starting likely right around the southern reaches of the Kingdom of Koldar. You either could choose to go east, my sons and daughters and others, to the coast, and then make your way along the coastline to get where you need to go. Or you could have cut down and used the roads, taking the splits and making your way further and further through. It would be a little bit shorter to get where you need to go since you have more roads that you're able to utilize, but it is far more dangerous during this large stretch of nothing. Whereas along the coastline, the fog does not seem to approach the ocean, treating it like a settlement. It's likely due to the effect of the powers of Liban that keep such things at bay, like they always have. So one will take longer, and one will be a bit more dangerous. What say you, adventurers? Where would you like to go?
The sea who spurned the demonic Imperiums and spat them back upon the land. The sea calls to me.
I think
I'm fine with going either way. I've traveled both directions many times. Pretty sure I can handle it regardless.
Yeah, I don't think she has any preference either way. She does, you will see she does try to avoid towns. But at the same time, she also doesn't avoid towns, because if you guys do go into a town, she will walk around freely, even if there's wanted posters of her face on the wall, you know what I mean? But if she doesn't have to go into a town, she won't.
Excellent. Well, with the dose of your drug and all of the different paths that you and your group have made for yourself in and around the Kingdom of Koldar, you are easily able to, at your whim, either make your way through the towns and cities or avoid them, keeping to the wilds. If I could go ahead and get each of you to make a survival check, and for this first leg of your journey, I'd like you to go ahead and make that with advantage, since you were able to utilize the drug to give you that little heads up and spur of this trip.
16.
Wow, 26, 16, and from Chi, we got a 12. And between the three of you, you absolutely were successful in this venture. You were able to avoid the dangers of the wild and also avoid any trouble with the law that any of you, maybe one more than the others, could possibly have in and around this kingdom. And it takes you only 2 weeks instead of who knows how much longer it could have to make your way along the coast. It is a very long and for the most part uneventful journey, since you are keeping to the coastline and are able to stay away from the fog for the most part. It just takes you quite a bit of time to make your way through. But you do eventually make your way through and are able to get down to Botomal. And that is the opening of the territory of Telis, the Mangrove Kingdom. There is a large amount of plant life here that has large, strong roots that burrow into the ground and are able to both benefit from and keep the waters at bay from pushing their way into the mainland, and keeping a large variety of very excellent plant life here. Unfortunately, that plant life is now incredibly hostile to any humanoids that approach it. Luckily, most plants don't have large, creeping tendrils and open, gaping mouths with which to feed upon you, but there are those within the deeper reaches of the territories of Dorswa. And it doesn't take you long before you are drawn. Camellia, you are a tea witch, and as such, you are able to peer into your beverage of choice, and you can see things that others don't. And not just because, you make a point of being able to, oh yeah, that looks kind of like a clown. Ooh, that looks like an ambulance. You're able to see visions and make portents of what is within your cup. And something tells you that what you seek lies within the mangroves.
You see this? And I shove it in whoever's face is closest. And it appears for all intents and purposes to be a wad of tea leaves that are all just mangled up together. It's a sign! You must go deeper.
That makes sense.
And as you
Yes.
make your way... Oh, go ahead.
Delightful company, always so agreeable. Just magnificent traveling companions. A special pot when we get to our next campsite. Yes.
Oh, what have I done? What have I done? Uh-oh.
Matt, what have you done?
I am not entirely sure. Give me just a moment. There's just a brief technical difficulty. I didn't make a map. There we go. The map is now a map, and it's not moving around at my at my beck and call.
Go do it.
And here we are. The stage is set. And as you make your way into the village of Botomal, you are able to see that it is still doing well, but it is definitely not the opening to this large, beautiful mouth of the main river that makes its way through the continent of Dorswa. It suffered on hard times. Much of the territories of Tellus have suffered on hard times. Their civilization, much like the elves and other lands and territories, was built among the trees. Yes, they did have different buildings and permanent places in which they lived, but for the most part, much of their society was connected by rope bridges and by working with the natural wildlife in order to build homes among the canopies of the great trees of Dorswa. However, when the fog rolled in not but a year ago, there was no walls built among the trees. The fog did not care that that is where they lived, took their meals, raised their children. It came, it saw, and it made them low. Literally, they had to descend down from their lofty canopies and make their way across the land and fortify the minor encampments and structures that they did have, and it has taken them a lot of time. They have suffered many hardships because of it, but the people truly do love their monarchs, who do everything they can to care for the people. And though it has been a very difficult time and the people are suffering, they are dour but pleasant and hopeful. And as you make your way into Botomal, that is exactly the kind of thing you would expect. When you enter, you can see that there are people milling about. For the most part, they are seeing to the upkeep and construction of their wall, as many towns and cities across Tamreon are raided nightly, as creatures will come from the fog, and usually in an attempt to abduct and steal those who are lingering away from their walls, or even breaking through and capturing those from within and taking them back deep into the wilds, never to be seen from again. But despite this fact, the people seem pleasant. When you arrive, they wave, they nod, they smile. You don't get much of an interaction, but you can tell that it is a friendly place and you are welcomed here. And you have an incredible hankering for tea, Camellia. You are literally drawn to what you could only assume is likely to have some tea in a tavern with a large mangrove that is used as you could say a sign welcoming you in. Actually, on the mangrove itself, there is a dangling sign that just says the mangrove.
Ah, the main grove. Perfect. And I just start walking right towards it.
Marion just kind of does a shrug and a nod and just silently just follows. Well, still looking around. Like I have determined that this person is someone that I'm okay with because, you know, gods have led me here, but everyone else is suspicious.
And as you all get closer, you realize that the location is actually called the Speckled Mangrove, but the speckled portion of the sign has been worn away over time. It appears as though it's one of those situations where people likely walk up and they brush up against and touch the speckled part, and it over time has been worn away and is barely visible anymore.
That seems lucky. I do it.
Excellent. Joe, I'd like you to go ahead, as soon as you put your hand upon the sign, make a wisdom saving throw for me, please.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to make this flat unless I beef, in which case I think I have an inspiration.
A 19. You get
Let it ride.
a flash of darkness. As soon as you touch it, your mind is shocked for a moment. You reel back as you see nothing. Not even nothing, the absence of nothing, a null, a void. And then within, something begins creeping. You can feel your own heart aching. A doo 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 drums in your ears as this pulse shocks your entire body. And you feel the pool of guilt and hatred. You could have done better. And then you're back. You don't know what that was, but it was not only odd, it was harrowing. Perhaps don't touch the sign, you think to yourself.
I touch the sign.
Do you touch the sign again?
I touch the sign again.
Do I notice this happening? Like, do I get a feeling of, like,
absolutely.
This is
You're all
weird?
in the same area, absolutely.
And it's
Okay.
pretty writ well on Camellia's face as this happens. This far off look, eyes go sort of slack, seawater burbles out of the side of his mouth. He furrows his eyes, and he touches the sign again.
So with my noticing, do I have any inkling of, like, kind of what's going on? Like, would I have cause to throw a guidance on them as I see them going for this again? Like, whatever's happening, I need you to do better.
If you would like, yes. From all you've been able to see, he walked up and almost like it was just like a cultural thing. He kind of goes up and just like touches the sign, but instead of him banging into it and just kind of continuing to walk, it looked like the sign just stopped, like almost as if it had weighed immeasurably more than it should, and his hand just stopped against it, and he looked frozen for a moment, gripped in whatever experience he was having. And then he returned back to normal as if nothing had happened. You share that moment, and it looks as though he moves up to try and touch it again.
Yeah, if it seems like I would have any inkling of, like, there's some shit going on with dude touching the sign here, I think I would slap a guidance on them, because I'm super suspicious of everything, and I feel like there's something going on, if that's what you think that I would think is happening.
Yeah, certainly. Okay, you go ahead and activate guidance. Any ability check that he makes for the next minute is going to add an extra 1d4. Just to clarify, did you mean resistance or did you mean guidance?
Just guidance.
Guidance,
I mean,
perfect.
Yeah.
Camellia, you reach your hand up and you almost hesitantly brace for that inevitable impact. It's going to stop you as you tap the sign. And as you bring your hand forward, you smack it and it goes nothing.
This is the
'Cause,
place.
yeah, I don't know that it was a saving throw. I'm trying to make him do better.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, he hit that sign. He smacked that sign.
Right.
This is the place. And I walk inside and I start scanning the entire tavern for anyone I recognize.
She will just have been watching that, and she kind of just like crosses her arms. And she goes, "Sign's haunted."
Moon's haunted, y'all.
Sign's haunted. Gotta go back.
As you enter into the speckled mangrove, you see before you a rather familiar figure. You haven't seen them for a number of weeks, but immediately you see the very brazen and just flowy and impressive Kyle, who looks so freaking upset. You've not seen them fluster before, and they are not flustered now, but they're close. They are speaking to the man at the bar. You see a tiefling, later in age, with gray hair that's beginning to thin, hazel eyes, red skin, and ram horns around their head. They wear plain clothes, and those of you that have a passive perception of 17 or higher notice a pair of daggers that are not quite hidden, but definitely tucked within the belt. I've tried to tell you before, I don't know who that person is. I'd be very happy if there is someone here that knows. I will see to it that they assist you, but at this time, I do not know. I can't say it any clearer than that.
Can I insight?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Is that a natural 20?
Yeah.
The split.
A natural 20 and a natural 1 for a total of 25. Okay. Kyle, as you are taking this in, and with your impressive intellect, you are able to, in just a moment, size this person up and try and, again, you're less looking for any tics that he might have verbally or anything that would try and betray that he could be hiding something from you. Again, you're pretty wise, but for the most part, you are inquisitive. You are investigative. You are just looking at his person and trying to sleuth your way into figuring out if this is the kind of person who would lie. And through your very quick but very thorough investigation, you are able to determine that this is the kind of person who, in such a small town with neighbors that are literally stuck here because they literally can't go anywhere else, because even hopping on a boat and trying to leave, unless you're heading out to sea, is very likely going to be a one-way ticket to the underworld. They have to be forthright. They have to be honest. If not, their business is going to suffer, and their community is thereby going to suffer. From what you know of this community, they are good people who work hard, and you are pretty darn... You think he's telling the truth. You do not believe that that he's lying about this. He does not honestly seem to know, but he does seem earnest in possibly getting you someone who could help.
Kyle kind of... She's leaning forward. She kind of slams her hands down on the counter, but instead of yelling or anything similar, she just heaves this deep sigh and leans forward onto her hands and says, I am very sorry for my outburst. My heart is breaking for the one that we have lost, and perhaps I got a little bit carried away. Please accept my apology. It was a terribly rude way for me to introduce myself.
You know, that's mighty fine of you. I'm glad to hear that. Look, I get it. You're looking for this girl you said? Halfling, was it?
Yes.
I know that there's a lot of adventuring groups that come through here. You know, kids get some kind of idea that they're going to be a hero. They head on over to Kamatesh. They think, hey, you know what? I'll go to the Free City. I'll find a group that's as like-minded as I will. We'll put our heads together and we'll use our brains and our brawn, and we'll head out there and we'll save the world. Well, those kids end up dead. Those kids come through here and they never come back. It's very likely... Oh, sorry, what was that?
Oh, that is exactly why I am worried. Because they come back. Well, do not come back.
Exactly. This this halfling, I've seen a few come by here, but I mean, it's been, I get a new adventuring group every other day. You know, people are coming in, arriving to this place by the droves. I literally can't tell you the last time I've seen so many ships come from the main continents. It's quite frankly baffling, to be completely frank.
And they all head to the same place.
Well, not exactly the same place. You see, they come through here, and much like you're asking, they find out if I know anything. And, you know, from what I've been telling people, you know, there's the ghosts of a party of adventurers that had died out in Lychee Grove to the east. You know, some people will go after that. There's an old monastery on Barrow Hill that's haunted by ghosts as well. I mean, I'm telling you, ghosts are freaking everywhere. It's insane. Actually, I don't even know if it's actually really ghosts. There's howling and wailing and all kinds of... We assume it's ghosts because anyone who does come back, which I tell you, very few and far between, that's what they describe. There's also a band of slave trading ogres that are lurking in the ruins of Krakot Keep. I would say do not go there. Hate ogres.
Is there perhaps somewhere with pirates or swashbucklers or others who are skilled in the art of the blade?
I mean, there's along the river, there's a ton of settlements, as you can imagine. Small ones, just big enough to apparently count. And, yeah, and, well, people are getting taken. People are getting captured. There's some kind of fish folk, I suppose. That's what the rumor mill says. They make their way out from their underwater who knows what, and they go into these towns, they grab unsuspecting people, and they drag them back into the water. A lot of people have been going after that because they want to, you know, save people rather than glory hunt, which I can respect that. That's a good way to do it. If you're going to kill yourself, do it doing something worthwhile.
For someone who is practicing the arts of sword fighting, I do believe that would be a more likely challenge than these ghosts and spirits.
Yeah,
Ghosts
yeah, I can
aren't
imagine.
much for sword fighting in my experience.
I mean, that certainly tracks, I would say.
I have a little bit of experience with ghosts.
I can certainly imagine. I myself do not, fortunately.
It's much better that way.
You know, now that you mention it, Mythwater on the border, southern border, they've been sending out pleas for help for a long time now. Maybe your friend was making it down there. If they really are this swashbuckling, you know, swordsman that you're describing, they likely would probably go for the biggest bit of help they could.
I do believe she would want to help people, so perhaps that is my next destination. Is there advice that you would give me for traveling down this river?
Yeah, don't. There's a terrifying monster that's been attacking travelers heading down to Magursinti. That's the border.
Terrible monster.
Yeah, it's this great, massive beast. Some people say it's got like well, look, it's some kind of weird hybrid is all I know. Some kind of crocodile toad or something.
Crocodile toad.
Yeah.
Is nothing I have heard of before, but
Yeah, I think it's kind of new. I'm sure that since all this madness has been happening, many of the creatures that have driven themselves insane out in those woods have, well, they've changed. They're not the same as they used to be. There's those horrible, malignant things that are taking people and changing them, and they malform the land. It could be that hybrid is some kind of... could be from the bad, or it could be nature trying to defend itself. Maybe this thing, did what it had to do to survive.
Either way, it seems to be something that should be checked out by more experienced adventurer.
Yeah, speaking of which, you appear to be by your lonesome, and not to say that you can't handle yourself, but there are tons of groups coming and going. Like I said, I mean, if you could wait around for maybe just an afternoon, someone would come by and you could go with them. You don't want to go off by yourself, trust me.
That probably is a better idea than venturing down this river myself.
Hey, actually, over there, there's hey, you folks, come on over here. I'll buy you a drink. No, for real, come here. That looks like a rather robust group. Maybe you could ask them. You know what? I take it back. Run.
Kyle turns and looks over her shoulder and looks surprised and not surprised at the same time. But takes a few steps forward and says, well, perhaps it was fated for us to meet again.
I'm just gonna elbow rib Camellia, like, that is the same one, right?
Well, that depends entirely. Hello, well met. Do you have a twin? Have you ever been impersonated by a doppelganger?
Not to the best of my knowledge. I could ask the same for yourself, but you are a rather distinctive gentleman. As I said before, I tend to follow my core, my heart. And
Yes. And has it run off?
it has led me to here.
Sweet. Yes, my guidance is also. This is, in fact. Now, what did your heart look like when it ran here?
Well, I suppose you could describe it as looking an awful lot like a small blonde halfling girl.
The child with the hat.
The
The Fleet Dream kid.
She has been missing. And I'm afraid it is my tales of adventure that have led her to venture out into the world on her own. So here I am to find her.
And there's no word anywhere of where she may have gone?
We have heard nothing. We know she headed in this area with prospective adventurers, but there has been no word since.
I walk over to the barkeep and say, "Yes, hello, tavern keeper. Yes, might I have a pot of your finest tea?"
Tea, you say?
Yes.
Well, I could certainly try and... You sure you wouldn't prefer a mug of beer? Or perhaps a tankard of mead?
Something else. Do you have a lobster pot?
A lobster pot.
Yes.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I could make that work for sure. Yeah.
And
It's not going to have lobster in it, but,
I just need it. I know that's great. Yes, tea for me and from all of my friends, and your largest lobster pot.
Okay, the tea is literally going to take a moment because I'm going to have to send someone out to go...
The pot now, the tea later, and I throw some silver on the...
if I got a little more silver, I might be able to go more rapidly retrieve what it is you're looking for. Hey, at this point, I'm going to have someone watch the place for me, and, it takes a while, but... I could
I'll watch the
maybe
place
go down
for
to
you,
the
He just
don't
hears in his head,
post.
tea.
No, you know what? That's fine. I understand the inconvenience. I'll put one more silver. Just the lobster pot, please.
Oh, well, right away, sir.
Perfect.
He goes back into the what you could consider the kitchen. He rummages around. You hear the banging of pots, him shouting at someone back there, like, "A lobster pot! No, I don't care if it shellfish. Fine, whatever we'll do. Let's get it. Come on, let's go." And he makes his way back to the front and hands you a pot that smells of fish.
Perfect.
Will this do, sir?
Yes, excellent. Thank you. Very kind.
Certainly, certainly. And I'll see if I can get working on that tea, but it might take a bit.
Not to worry. And I'm going to set the lobster pot on the table, and I am going to invite my compatriots to sit back, relax, get to know each other, have a moment. And while they're waiting, I'm going to take a large oyster out of a big clam that smells kind of weird and is just like leaking seawater. And I'm going to carefully place it into the pot. And then my eyes roll into the back of my head. And I begin the 10-minute process of casting the Scrying spell.
Ooh. Very good. And who will you be scrying on today, sir?
Do you have anything that belongs to the child?
Something that belongs to the child. It was mine and then belonged to the child. Will that do?
No.
Let's see.
Kyle, for the most part, in your relationship, you were generally the one giving the gifts.
Yeah.
However, for a point of inspiration,
Which you have.
the fates could be persuaded to possibly have a gift have found its way from your aspiring tutelage person, protege.
I also offer, with knowledge of the scrying spell, which I also have, but do not have prepared, that like if the child did have a strong connection to the thing, even if it didn't belong to them specifically initially, that it might also still have some benefit.
No, I'll spend that point of inspiration while Kyle digs through bags and pockets, and she's not a very organized person. Something comes into her hand and she puts it in the nearest open pocket or pouch that there is, so it might take her a little bit to go through everything. She's patting herself down and setting things on a table as she digs through everything.
And as you're making your way through your pack, you have this aha moment as you realized, in the haste of preparing for this trip and rushing off and collecting just what you needed to survive on the road, you remembered that not too long ago, your friend, Duriana, had prepared a special gift for you. They were very embarrassed to give it to you, and you took it very sweetly from them. They had actually professed that not only did they have they were crushing on you. They weren't just admiring you, but they also appreciated you for more than just your tricks. However, she understood that, as a very long-lived and worldly elf of many years, and she just a young halfling that just is having, she knows it's probably just, a whim of her own, but she just wanted to give you a gift knowing that you've changed her life for the better. And it was a perfume. She always smelled of flowers, Duriana, and it was because she would go out and pick many different rare breeds at dangerous peril to herself and craft them into a perfume, and she shared the very same with you.
That's so sweet. I'm gonna cry. I'm emotionally invested already. So yeah, she'll find this little bottle, and when she pulls it out, she kind of hesitates for a moment and says, "Will your spell allow me to have it back?"
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect then. And she'll hold it out for you.
And Kyle,
Perfect.
as you hold it, this wave of nostalgia floods through as you get that little, just tiny fragrance of the perfume scent, and this guilty longing kind of washes over you for a moment, but you shake it away.
I shake it away with a determination that I am going to find her.
All right, I will take the bottle of perfume and I will lightly put a few drops into the pot with the clam. And then I look at it for a moment. And then I hand it back. And I'm going to use that as a possession or garment to do a -4 to the save.
Absolutely.
And continue casting the spell. which takes 10 minutes. The rest of the party can have the floor until you want to pass it to me.
Marin, within the tavern that you see, there are a number of people, not too many, but again, you yourself are very paranoid, and you like to make sure that you keep an eye on the world around you and any dangers or any interests that could be present. Within, you are able to notice that sitting not too far away from you, there is a human soldier with a narrow face, straight gray hair, and dark gray eyes. He wears scale mail, a rather large shield that sets to his side, as well as a helmet, and he has a very, very large military-issue pickaxe. You also see that there is a elf, who appears to be a scholar, possibly, sitting with him. She has long golden hair, bright blue eyes, and wears very fine clothing and numerous rings. And they just appear to be having just a very low, trying to keep it private, but not like husked and whispering. And they seem to just be talking about the rumor mill going around this place. Additionally, there are a couple of dwarves that sit on the other end of the tavern. They are just sitting quietly, or if they do speak, it is in a very hushed whisper.
Am I able to pick up on the conversation? I know it's probably going to be fairly difficult, but from where I'm at, looking at the map.
The group next to you, or the far group of dwarves?
I would imagine the person very close to me, because if we're looking at the same map, actually, let me look at what the map. Yeah, so we're looking at the same map. So there's the one dwarf like just north of me, and then there's the pair you were talking about that sounded a little more interesting.
Yeah, so nearby to you, and let me make sure that I'm describing this correctly, you are down here in this bottom area, and then nearby you there is the soldier and the scholar that are talking, and then way on the other end you've got the dwarves that are talking.
Right.
So that whatever they're saying, that would be almost impossible. You'd have to, get godly help to find out how they're speaking about you, or if they are talking about you at all. Whereas the two of these, they're not keeping it super quiet, but they're just trying not to disturb anybody that could be coming in here.
Yeah, I don't know if Marin would feel compelled to specifically go walk around the room to pick up on conversation while this is happening, so possibly just trying to pick up on the table just north of us.
All right, go ahead and make a perception check, please. And while you are listening in on that, Chi, are you doing anything? You've been probably taking in the scene yourself as things have been unfolding.
Yep, she's kind of looking around. One thing I did want to mention, she would have looked outside, at least around the front area. She wouldn't have like walked around or anything like that. But she would have looked for a mark of the Syndicate anywhere.
Oh,
then,
okay.
She would also be looking on the inside for one as well, just in case.
Okay, go ahead and give me just one perception check to just show how, or investigation, either perception or investigation. The DC will be different depending on what you do. And let me know what the total is. That'll describe kind of both searches, how well this tends to go. And Marin, with your 12 perception, you are able to overhear that they are discussing much of what the innkeeper was talking about, mostly just rumors about such things as, hey, have you heard that the elves of the Shady Swamp are rallying to battle against the Granuian invaders? Oh my gosh, no, you don't say. Oh yeah, they're tired of how quickly they've been pushing in and trying to claim all this land here. I mean, look at this. Dorswa is a hotbed of activity right now. Oh yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. Of course. There's this perpetual storm I've heard that is raging over the highlands. Oh yeah, I know, I've heard of that. That's crazy. I mean, we've got that fog, so what's a storm compared to that crazy mist? But hey, it was some interesting stuff, I overheard, and this is the part that gets you, I overheard the people that walked in, they were talking about somebody, and then she starts getting quieter and quieter, and you're not able to, unfortunately, overhear any part of that conversation. But you are piqued at the possibility of what could be said. Meanwhile, Chi, you look around, and like you said, you're not doing you're just kind of giving a quick glance to see where people would normally place it, and if there was any of your people that came through here, they didn't leave a mark stating as such.
Gotcha. The other thing she would do is she would look at the soldier to see if the soldier is giving her any kind of look back. You know what I mean? Like she's a little on edge. Obviously, she's never been into this town before.
Yeah.
And this is out of her kind of out of her group's range for the most part. Like she still probably has people out and about, like spread farther, but not quite as much of an influence that she does in like Koldar.
Make a perception or an insight check, your preference. It'll give you different information depending on what you do.
Definitely do an insight. Still, okay, not bad.
A 9. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. You can't tell much. What you can tell, this guy does not like you. Like, at all. When you look over, you can see his eyes do that thing where he's kind of sitting there, just kind of low, speaking to whoever it is that's sitting at the table with him, and he just keeps looking up at you, almost as if you like wronged him, and he can't believe you've stayed in the tavern this close to him and are daring to continue being in his presence. Not in a very lofty I'm better than you way, but more like that. He seems very put upon and ticked off.
She will notice this. She'll smile at him, and then she'll look back at the group.
You can also sense that while he is very upset with you, he's kind of in awe at how tall you are. But like in awe, as in like, God damn it, really? He himself, he's not that short. He's a rather average height person, but you get the feeling that might be a sore spot for him.
Perfect.
And Marin, were you going to share with the group what you overheard, or keep it to yourself for now?
I feel like with as generally scatterbrained as Marin really is, although very observant, like not great with social graces and a little scatterbrained. Probably, I mean, for the most part, right now, just hearing people were talking about us and then falling off, and then we're hearing about kind of things we had mostly already heard. Probably keeping to themselves for the moment. But seeing the weird, like, exchanges of looks going on. Where am I actually sitting? I'm sitting... Okay, good. Yeah, seeing the weird exchange of looks going on, I'm just going to reach kind of over and just tap Chi. And then if a fight breaks out, they have advantage on... rolling for combat, that word that I forget because my brain doesn't work.
Initiative.
That one.
Very good. Okay. Well, and you realize very quickly, Chi, when Meron gives you a quick tap, that you feel like you are more alert than you've probably
Things
ever
are a little
been.
more tingly, yeah.
It's almost as if when you pop the cardinal sin and just everything seems to just be that much clearer. Everything moves not slower, but maybe you're noticing things just slightly a step or two quicker.
So out of curiosity, because in Kyle's way of getting here, she did not have access to the fancy drug that others did. Did she suffer any negative effects, or is there anything that I should know about on her trip here?
Did you stay by the coast, or did you go overland?
Kyle travels by ship whenever possible, so definitely down the coast.
So here's the nice thing about that. The mist, not a problem when you're on a boat traveling over the seas. If you enter into a river, that's a different story. But you, having stayed close to the coast and having access to a boat, would have made much better time, which is why it only took you about a week or so instead of the few weeks it took for your more recent companions to arrive here.
Okay. Cool.
And thankfully no ill effects of any kind.
Just making sure that like some part of me isn't inside out or something.
Yes, that is correct, but I would like if you could please just, now that you mentioned it, I mean, gosh,
no.
just bringing that up, I'm sorry. Could you make a wisdom save for me real quick?
Sure. Sure.
We've got a
Your
floating act of
shoulders
God
are
that
inside
I'm
out.
that I'm
It's the weirdest
trying to proc, and I'm waiting to reveal it until something happens. A 10.
Ooh, 10.
While you are sitting here watching Camellia cast the spell, and Camellia, can you just very briefly describe to me what it looks like as you're preparing this spell with your shellfish pot?
There's a spoon involved. You're not sure where the spoon came from. It may have been removed from nearby somewhere. And a variety of odd little... They're not spices. They're herbs, things being sprinkled in. And Camellia's muttering to himself. And it all seems to rhyme. And the light glistens off of this battered old, not a lobster pot with the clam in the bottom and the perfume. And the smoke begins to rise in odd colors. Oh, double toiling.
The salt water just goes into the pot.
Yeah, it's just part of, it's like,
Starting to fill.
do you want me to fill this pot? Oh, there's no need, trust me.
Just give me a minute.
No thanks, I brought my own.
As this is happening, you're reminded of a dream that you had been pushing at the edge of your consciousness. On the way down, despite the fact that you were not passing through the murky veil, for those that spend any amount of time sleeping outside of a settlement, if you are within the dark fog and you fall unconscious, whether it is you're going to sleep or you've been knocked out, any way in which you are unconscious for a length of time, you have awful, terrible dreams, and some people even go mad from the experience. You had such a dream away from the fog as, behold, an act of God. And we, without having unfortunately don't have the asset ready, but the very first
Perfect,
act of
no
God
notes.
card that we have, what's that? Oh, thank you. Was you drew the Feast of Sorrows from Despair's Herald. And over the course of your week-long travel, though you were not interrupted by any malignant creature or conspiring mortal, you were beset by terrible, awful dreams. Dreams filled with guilt and with remorse. Dreams that combined your current stress of having to find somebody who looks up to you, somebody who cares for you, someone who relied on you. It reminds you of a time when somebody else who you cared about looked upon you with love and with respect, and when you failed them. You remembered a time in your childhood when your best friend, who you had fallen in love with, you were so close your whole life, and they were your whole world, and they were ripped away, taken from you by someone more powerful than you. You could not protect them, and you've always blamed yourself for that. Any time since that moment anything has gone wrong in your life, you weren't good enough. You've blamed yourself. You need to get better. You need to get stronger, and you have. You've worked hard, and you've honed your craft, and you've become one of the most impressive warriors this side of the shifting sea. But always it stems from that sense of self-worth and how you just... that mask of bravado that you show the world is not the real Kyle, and you know it, and your dreams prove it. Until you are able to make a successful wisdom save every night, until then, you are going to be waking up with a level of exhaustion. And today, I'm going to be granting you 1 level of exhaustion, as you did not get very good sleep the previous night, as reflected by that wisdom save.
That is something that Kyle carries with her everywhere she goes, and particularly every time she picks up that blade.
But despite the fact that despair dwells within your heart and mind, hope is stronger, as is love. And you push past that fog of doubt, and you reach for something greater, something that you know you will be able to attain. Just like you know you'll rescue that poor girl that placed her love and her trust in you and the way that you live your life. And it's at that point that Camellia finishes their spell. Reveal the child.
And I'm gonna scry on this kid.
Mate, I'd like for you to go ahead and roll the d20 for me, please.
Okay. Which of these tabs is roll 20? Sorry, I'm not complaining to the DM. I know what it's like on your side.
Dude, it's wild over here. This is literally some insane stuff that I'm having to, that you always deal with and that I now am aware of. I will never besmirch.
A fourth monitor for
Yes!
Tuesday night.
Yeah, I only have 9 tabs open, and having run stuff over the internet, this feels real light to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's silly. That being said, as you peer down into the shellfish pot, as of before, you feel drawn in, pulled into the vessel before you. Everything falls away from you, as if you were swirling and mixing the ingredients of a tea. So too has your consciousness swirled and mixed, and you are now enveloped within the pot before your eyes. And there is no tavern, and there is no pot, and there is no spoon. What there is a girl sitting, not quite conscious. As you look over the area, you can see that there is that young girl that you saw many weeks ago, Duriana. But she is not in good condition. She is sitting, tied up with some kind of... You can only describe it as a dismembered tentacle that has been crudely fashioned as some kind of restraint, keeping her pinned to a rock of some kind. There are others there with her as well. Possibly her companions, possibly other hostages. And at the edge of your vision, you see a form, a writhing, milky white, enormous thing that lingers at the edge of your vision. And a tentacle along the ground moves slowly towards Duriana and just lightly caresses her cheek before withdrawing back into the darkness. You can see her wince and withdraw at the touch, only semi-coherent. And you can see that upon the touch, her skin begins not dissolving, but becoming translucent, almost as if you can see into her insides. She's becoming less corporeal and more membrane than skin. And how long does your scrying last for?
Up to 10 minutes.
How long are you going to sit here and look at this scene? The full duration?
I'm going to get enough of a glimpse around the whole area to see if there's any other identifying marks I can get from it.
Make a perception check for me, please.
Mm-hmm. $24.
It doesn't take you very long. And you can't move your scrying, but what you can do is analyze and go over every inch of what you can see to see what you can find. And you realize that she's being kept in some kind of... It is underground. You can ascertain that. This is not anywhere where the light touches. It is dark, it is damp, and the only light you realize within this cavern is illuminated by many individuals. The light is coming from them. It is coming from Duriana, as these people, not just herself, but others, are going through some kind of metamorphosis. They are becoming less of themselves and more of... What is that? There's a fish person. There's a thing, part humanoid, but part fish, and it has claws and tentacles, and it's carrying a body. It rips one of the long tentacles off, jettisoning from its back, and ties another person to one of the nearby rocks. and you can see as your vision begins to fade, another tentacle, white and milky, slopping along the ground and just gently caressing before going back into the darkness. From what you can ascertain, people are being captured and they are being brought somewhere and they are being made into something else.
Okay, I'll pull my head away from the teapot, or from the lobster pot.
And Kyle's
Your
just watching.
Your path lies with ours now. And if a child is to be preserved, then the thing born of the one flesh must die.
I do not know what that means, but if rescuing her is on the same path that you are on, then of course I will accompany you.
What did your witch eyes see?
A monstrosity within the heart of the island, a piece of the one flesh, has countless souls captured, and its corruption spreads through them to change them. I don't know why it grabs them, I don't know what it plans to do with them, but the corruption is spreading. I know where the missing have gone, I know a little bit of what has become of them, and I know that we must wipe out the beast and cleanse those afflicted.
And as you say this, you all kind of in unison turn to see the figure of the innkeeper standing there with a tray full of little teacups and a piping hot pitcher of normally used for beer that is now holding a rather murky looking, possibly tea. And he looks kind of, not horrified, but you folks need to go somewhere? Is that what it sounds like?
Yes.
Yes, would appear so.
I know a guy. Look, it sounds like you probably better be on your way if it really is as dire as what this seems like. I don't know how. I'm glad you found who you were looking for, but look, go ask for Drake down at the northern dock. He'll take you where you need to go. But he's not cheap. But he's the only one who can get you there. Trust me, he's worth it.
I look over at our Owlin companion. I look over at the barkeep. I smile and I reach out and I take the entire gigantic thing that's supposed to be a mug that the tea was brewed in. Set it back down. Thank you. That's very helpful.
Great. That'll be 5 copper.
Plink.
Thank you very much, travelers. Again, if you ever come back to the Speckled Mangrove, you're always welcome here, I guess. My name is Lythelber, and just tell Drake I sent you, and he'll, probably give you a good deal. I don't know. I haven't sent anyone to him in a while, mostly because they die. Not that he kills them or anything. Let me be very clear. Just, you go out there, you die. That's the thing.
Lythelber, you run
Very
a
much
fine
so.
establishment. Your hospitality is greatly appreciated.
Yeah. All right. If you could just kind of go, you're kind of bumming out the rest of the clientele, and every single person in this place. There are only 4 of them, but they're all looking at you.
She will kind of stand up and she'll fluff her feathers out to where they go out to almost full length, like she's stretching them out real quick. And then she'll pull them back in. She said, "Well, we are an impressive bunch, aren't we?"
You can see that the soldier just stares at you in disdain, although is staring for quite a while.
Yeah, I mean, if they're ready to.
Marin having
ready
like
to head out.
no social graces, hearing like we're bumming everyone out, just pulls out some bird pipes. Like, I'm gonna make the mood better. Here I go. I don't want to make people bummed out. It's like a whole thing for me.
Imagine if you would. You go to a restaurant, and it's your birthday.
Oh, that should actually also be +4 because I am proficient with bird pipes.
Oh, okay, a 16. That's much better. Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine that you went to a restaurant and it wasn't your birthday. And you were going to
Wash day?
You were planning to sit down, have a nice meal, not have anybody, just start singing out of nowhere. And just, stretch the imagination just a bit further and just imagine that, you went to get up and you knocked into one of the waitstaff and dropped literally someone's food all over the place. It wasn't your fault, but everyone's giving you that weird look. And then across the bar, someone starts singing "Happy Birthday."
Mm-hmm.
They sound great, honestly. Like they're on tempo, they're hitting the highs, they're hitting the lows. It sounds amazing, but they're still singing "Happy Birthday" in a restaurant in the middle of a really awkward situation. So it goes over about as well as that.
And that's like a very like Chili's Happy Birthday song. It's not the Happy Birthday song.
Yeah. Please don't sing the Happy Birthday song. That will get us copyrighted. At that, I take it you all leave.
As we walk out, I immediately say that was the worst tea I've ever tasted. We're never coming back here ever again.
She will drape, like, she'll touch the soldier on his back as she walks, because she's gonna walk around to where she purposely walks by
Yeah,
him.
she is.
And she will, like, drape some of her, like, feathers, like, across his shoulder as she walks by.
You can just hear, literally just as you walk away, you can hear the grinding of teeth. And you can hear this mumbled, "Stupid frickin' giant birds."
She will hear you. If she hears that, she will stop in her tracks and her head will turn all the way around. And she'll say, "I'm sorry, were you saying something? Was there something that you wanted to say?"
There's a giant monster, and just be real careful. You have a nice day now, ma'am.
Thank you for your concern for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Walk straight out with her head still backwards, looking at him. Yes.
She does, absolutely.
As you get halfway through the threshold, you hear him turn back. "Holy crap, did you see that spin her head around the gun? That was freaking amazing. Ah, God, yeah, it's okay." And he's just...
She'll turn back around and she'll just, like, she'll chuckle. And if any of the rest of the party is looking at her, she'll just smile and just go...
Just one probably empty plate like of what used to be appetizers just flips over. I just want for that to be
Invisible
known.
table flip.
Like seeing all of this shit talking going back and forth that wasn't necessarily deserved. I mean, I know that she was kind of being the aggressor, but dude was being a dick, and then more going on. Just a like a empty plate with a fork just flips over when she turns back around. Like, what was that? Ding.
And you're not trying to hurt anybody, right? You're just making a disturbance.
Nope. This is just telekinetic. Yeah, invisible mage hand just flip.
Ah, dang it! I was gonna eat that potato. Ah, how good is Dave?
Yeah, there was almost nothing there, but probably the last thing he really wanted to eat.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you can just hear him getting on the floor like, "Oh, I can brush it off. It's fine."
As like once they've walked out and as she is kind of like shrugging, Kyle leans over a little and is like, making friends everywhere you go still, I see.
Always, if they look, I have to give them a show, right?
He is intimidated by you.
Good. It's exactly what I want, honestly.
And at that, you know that there are a few different docks in this place. They said that we're at the northern dock, so you kind of have an idea that they are probably going to be at the top of the village. So you can, at your leisure, go ahead and make your way that way.
Cool. Everyone good to make a beeline?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
We have a purpose. I'm good with following it.
And question, Camellia, do you touch that sign on the way out?
No, I'm distracted by how awful the tea was.
Does anybody touch that sign on the way out?
I think it does get slapped again, but it's by an invisible hand.
An invisible hand?
Yeah, just
Your
mage hand.
telekinesis,
Just,
your
just,
mage
just,
hand.
just
Yeah.
telekinetic, just slap it again.
As you slap the hand with the telekinesis, I want you to go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw, please.
Okay, well, let me do 2 of these because I have racial advantage on this. Wisdom beyond 20. Wisdom beyond 20. 27.
Very nice. Okay, and as you smack the sign with your invisible force, you feel this pull from above, but also from below, as if a celestial spear is opening the clouds above you and striking down into the earth. Behold, an act of God. Oh, okay, well, there you go.
It's time!
I still liked yours. You were good.
Thank you. And you are blessed by the bells of Lethagon. I'm not saying it right, but there you go. From Romius the Stern Lord. You can feel the connection from Rialta to Romius, both the one lofty in the skies and the one sternly buried deep below even the possible reaches of the earth. And you realize that it's only going to last for a limited time, but there is something that you've done recently that has pleased the Stern Lord, and they have decided that there is a harrowing experience you are likely going to come across, and they've given you some measure of power. For the next day, you are able to activate a glowing fire within yourself. And when that happens, I'll let you know what occurs. But you do know that you have a radiance within you that can explode at any point. But it must be used soon, or else that flame will die out.
Sometime in the next 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
I'll drop it in chat so you can add that to your character sheet or however you want to do that.
Flames of Phlegathon.
And I'm going to go ahead and
At least
just...
that's what that sounded like.
That's what
the
that
term I'm
seems like,
familiar
yeah.
with.
Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, and everybody...
Hello, my honey.
Hello, my ragtime gal. Everybody makes their way to the next portion of the map here. Let's see, I don't know if that translates super well. And as you approach the northern dock, you can see that there is a nearby, what is basically a little more than a shack at the farther end of this space. Likely either like a makeshift warehouse or office for any that work here. There's the remnants of a campfire that was used maybe the night before. And there is a man standing off on the dock on the far end of this locale, standing next to a ship. They appear to be kind of like how a bartender will like clean an empty glass when they're not really busy. They're doing the same thing, just kind of jumping on and off the ship, clearing the muck and the grime that seems to cling to every portion of this vessel.
Clearing the area.
That is correct. And once you're
I did not
ready,
write down the name of the guy, and I feel like it's actually appropriate that I didn't, because very scatterbrained.
I'm more than happy to remind anybody who needs it.
Hey, are you the guy?
Is that likely the Drake we were looking for?
Oh, Drake, I was way off. Not
I
even
believe
gonna
this
say
is
what
the
I was
Northern
thinking.
Docks.
I mean, this is the northernmost dock.
Why don't one of you two go introduce us?
She will think about it for a second, and then she'll look at Kyle. She'll be like, "You lead the way."
Yes. Using my my superior personality, are we?
Isn't that how you would prefer it?
It is fun. And She'll grin before leading the way down toward the dock.
These two, they fight like a married couple, no?
Question, just to make sure, because I don't think I've really seen anybody do it. Do you all have access to being able to move your characters?
Yeah, I have moved my token.
Okay, good. Just making sure, because like I've been moving you all around without checking with you,
No,
and I just want to make sure.
I moved my token to follow Joe's token.
Oh, okay, very good.
Back when we first saw Kyle.
Perfect. And I haven't been able to drop as much as I would like because, you know, I'm kind of new at this whole thing. But this is some really cool art, as well as a lot of more that will be kind of coming our way. One of my very close friends, and yours for those of you who are on the channel, Echofoot, did a lot of the art for some of the characters and things that will be appearing throughout our adventures. And I love their art style, and I specifically asked for like a more sketchy thing. I kind of imagine that the party is kind of sketching a lot of what appears, and it's just, you know, a way to kind of add to the mystique of the area that we're in. And speaking of which, let me go ahead and pull up another. Here we go. Where are you? There you are. Okay. Show to players, visible. There we go.
Cool.
As you look ahead, you can see that there is a gentleman standing at the other end of the dock. He is a middle-aged human, appears to be the riverboat driver that was described to you. He has long, curly silver hair, blue eyes, and rough tanned skin. Stands about 5.5 or so feet tall, has a square but cute face, and he's missing a big chunk out of his right ear. And that's all you know for now.
All right. Yeah, I mean, Kyle will walk down to just the kind of first couple steps onto the dock and call out a hello.
Hi there. Welcome. I'm a riverboat driver. I'm sorry you're here for a riverboat. Is that right?
That is exactly why we are here. You were recommended to us.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm recommended to a lot of people, in fact. I am a riverboat driver, and I'm very good at it, in fact. My rates are reasonable, although by reasonable I mean that I'm reasonable, sure that I'm going to take a lot of your money, because we're going out into the Vale, and that's dangerous as all get out.
That does seem reasonable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a monster out there. Apparently some weird crocodile fish is eating people.
So we have heard recently.
I see the swords and the robes and giant bird. Y'all can take care of yourselves, right?
Oh, very much so.
To be sure. Okay, very good. I'm here for it. This is what I like to see.
Pats the hilt of her sword.
Oh, impressive. Does it have a name?
That is information for the close friends only.
Oh, close friends. Sure. Okay, I get that. Yeah, no, I'm just a riverboat driver. You know, you're a person who wants to go on a riverboat. That's the extent of our relationship thus far. But who knows? We're going to be on this voyage of ours for quite a bit. Is voyage the right word for a river? Oh, my God. We're going to be sailing. Gosh, is sailing... Does anybody here know the terminology of a river versus a ocean? Because I am, quite frankly, very confused. I just know how to drive the boat.
As long as you are a capable boat driver, I believe that the terminology is secondary.
Capable? Am I capable? To be sure. Madam, you have not met a man who can handle a helm like I can. I
Insight check.
yeah, I should go for it. I just realized that is probably going to be a big tip-off. Every time I drop a picture, oh, this person's important. Matt has a picture for me.
25.
A 25 insight. Okay. So from what you're getting, you look over this person, and they, despite the fact that they are passing themselves off as a lowly and somewhat incompetent riverboat driver, this person is covered in finery. Their clothing is of the best make. They have silk sashes, mantles that don't even have any cloaks attached to them. This person seems like they more so belong in one of the not so savory ends of a city where they would go to have some good times and fun, and not out here doing the hard work of running a boat along a very, very dangerous river. That being said, he carries himself with the confidence and experience of somebody who has been out here on the boat for a while, and you notice that he does have very large calloused hands. So it's obvious that he does do some work, whether it's piloting a boat or otherwise, is yet to be seen, but he absolutely seems capable. And while you might not trust that he's telling the truth necessarily, what you can tell is that he is not lying to you, at least not outright.
Alright, cool.
So here's the thing. This is how this works, unless, you know of a different way. You give me the money, and I mean, like, quite a purse. I have you climb onto my boat. Very, very beautiful, if I might add. And he kind of just finishes brushing off one section, and you can see that across this boat, he's only just started. There's this whole thing. Had you left it alone, you probably wouldn't notice, but there's this one little, like, pane, almost like a window, that's perfectly clean, and the rest of it is just a slightly muck-touched mess. And he kind of gives the boat a little slap, and then wipes his hand off on his rather fine-looking clothing. And then you go, dang it! Does anybody have a hanky? Jesus. I mean, sell it.
She will kind of look at this for a second. She will look and turn towards the party, and she will say, "If this man drowns us in this boat, I am only saving one of you, and it's going to be Kyle."
You do still care. Oh, my heart.
Our Lady, I promise you, I cannot be drowned easily, and I know that this person, who I met first, we're good.
He appeared.
We are good. Sorry, did not abbreviate that. It's we are good.
I imagine if he was going to drown, he would have done so by now.
It's
She
actually
kinda looks
taking
at the
quite a
boat.
long time.
When Drake wipes off the gross on his clothes and then realizes what he's done, Kyle just shrugs and said, "I'm very sorry. I never learned prestidigitation."
Oh. There's an entire continent full of wizards that do that, and you happen to be the only one that doesn't. Oh, just my luck. All right, well, make with the money and get on the boat. We got to get out of here, because it's going to be nightfall before long, and we got to make it to the next settlement before we got to bed down. Either that, or if you all want to, stay up and not sleep. Trust me, we're not sleeping out there on the water.
Perhaps we should leave with all due haste.
Absolutely. Okay, so, and he goes ahead and takes off his non-existent hat. Oh, right. I don't have that anymore. He pulls out a pouch, seemingly from nowhere, but he had to have pulled it from somewhere. And he holds it out, expecting what you can only imagine is a hefty fare. He has not mentioned how much money, only that it should be a lot.
Well, here in his head, you should probably tell us how much we need to pay.
And he responds
But
back.
he will see no lips moving anywhere, just hears it in his head.
And he responds back, "Oh, right. Dang it, I always forget. That'll be 50 gold each."
That
She
seems
will-
reasonable.
She will look at the rest of them for a second, and then she'll look at Drake and she'll say, "Listen, you like taking people's money. I like taking people's money. I like keeping my own money. Do you favor keeping your own life?"
Ooh, and you can see him get kind of excited. Is that a threat?
It could be.
Oh, I like threats. We're going to get along very well.
She
So
just
here's-
stares at him.
I do not have very much money. I spend most of my money supporting and protecting people. This is
Oh.
very rich for my blood.
You're a philanthropist. I hate you.
You
I'm
can
going
hate me all that you like.
To speak to a potential customer.
Well, from what it sounds like, you're all broke, so the potential part of customer...
I've got it here somewhere. Hang on a moment. I'd like to pull a patch off of my robe of useful items.
Ooh.
I reach on, I rolled a random die. It's one of the items that I bought. And I pull out a
favorite
patch,
visual
and it
items.
expands into a 10-foot pit that I have to put on the ground somewhere. Oh, sorry, this isn't it. I'm going to go ahead and set down a 10-foot pit somewhere just in the dirt nearby.
Oh! Do you unfold a cloth to do that?
It's not a portable hole. It's literally a pit.
Oh.
When
It's
you
a
do
bit
that,
interesting.
Kyle pulls a few pieces of like garbage and things she doesn't need anymore that have just been stuffed in her pockets, taking up space, and tosses them in the pits.
All right, so I have 8 patches left. Sorry, it's got to be one of these. Hang on.
I love the robe of useful items. It's maybe one of my favorite items ever.
All right, I pull a patch off of my robe, and it turns into a silver coffer, 1 foot long, 6 inches wide and deep, and it's worth 500 gold pieces.
Yeah, that'll do it. I'll go ahead and take that, and welcome aboard.
Does anyone want to break?
Hand that
does
over.
anyone actually have the coinage first? Because if you do, then we'll pay with.
I forgot to mention. I didn't mention this. I'm sorry. My apologies. Because I thought you weren't going to be able to pay for the standard fare. There's the VIP experience, and for exactly one silver coffer full of golds, you can have such an experience. Not only will I guarantee that you will arrive to your destination safely, I might add, but I will be giving you a guided tour of the rivers of Dorswa. How about that? I will point out every little nook and cranny around here. I'll give you the experience of a lifetime, describing every little bit of interesting lore that you could possibly get your mind around. I'll also tell you about the time that I met, fell in love with, and wooed a dryad. I will be able to expand upon the glory of Silit, the titan of architecture and civilization. Trust me, I will make you a fan. Believe me, you me. To be sure, to be sure.
Does the tour include the backside of any waterfalls?
I mean, yeah, at the end, wait. Yeah, at the end, for sure. Yeah, the end has one.
Excellent. Just for my personal information.
I look
okay.
at everyone in the party as if getting the yes, no, and if I don't see any no's, I will hand it over. If I see
Well,
no,
I was gonna say you'll hear in your head like I can pay for myself, but also while you're hearing that, Marin pulls out really terrible maps. They look like they've been drawn in crayon by a 6-year-old. But they do outline the whole, like basically the entirety of the continent. Like, so you can tell me you can tell me where this river goes that I have already plotted out, and you will tell me the lore of this shrine that I have worked at.
I'm sorry. I don't like you. Are you talking to me?
She will step forward and she will get right up into his face, and she will say,
I am this
"Speak
close to
anyone
pushing him into the
here."
water just telekinetically.
She will say, "Speak to anyone here with that tone of voice again, and I will make sure that you are in the water and we are going away with your boat."
Oh, I really like you. Yeah.
Very
Okay.
good at science.
You know, at first, I didn't think I was gonna like the really tall bird, but much like the mold on this boat, it's growing on me. Not like you're an it. I mean, like it as in the mold. You're a person, obviously.
You're
I mean,
terrible at this.
I give him the coffer just to make him stop talking.
he happily.
Can this tour come with silence?
Well, that's extra, but yeah, sure, I can shut up. That'll be one
Extra,
gold
like-
piece a day, and I will
So-
say not a word.
And she'll look at her hands and she'll say, "Okay, so I can move one gold ring to this one, and then I can feed it to your face."
You're souring our relationship with the violence, but I can respect the con. How about this? If you give me the piece of gold, I am going to lick it, and then I'll give it back to you, and then that's it. That's our trade. I'll shut up. you'll literally take my words. The rest of you got to pay, though, the 1 gold a day. Do we have a deal? And he holds out his hand.
I would rather you talk.
Oh, I don't think he was trying to make it weird. I think he just accidentally made it weird. What I think he was
Trying to do is that he was doing it was symbolic of.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, but it is still creepy.
Oh yeah, it just
Marin
intent
Marin
doesn't.
just suddenly looks very confused, like he has no idea what the dude's saying.
Boat?
Yeah, but boat. Okay, he takes the money and goes ahead and just stashes it beneath the one of the trunks at the back of the boat. Welcome aboard to my boat. Do boats usually have names? Mine doesn't. Mine's just my boat. Drake's boat. You can call it Drake's boat. Yep.
Not have a name.
You know, I think it's bad luck. Every single time I've ever heard of a boat that went down, it was because it was named. You don't hear about boats that don't have names that go down.
That's because there aren't any.
Exactly.
Kyle is feeling very suspicious. I would like to insight check him on his boat not having a name.
Yeah, absolutely.
He definitely doesn't seem like a riverboat master here.
I mean, he said he was a riverboat driver. That's what he specifically told you.
That's not great.
Not a riverboat owner.
Okay. With a 12 insights, Kyle, you are. Look, what I will tell you, he's not lying to you, but he's bullshitting you. If that makes sense, you get the sense that you're being bullshitted, but at the same time, he's not lying. Boat doesn't have a name. You checked where it normally would be painted on there. Nothing. Specifically, you can see something was scratched off. This boat had a name at one time or another, and it was dechristened or de-sovereigned by the riverboat driver known as Berinon Drake. Berinon Drake. Jeez.
Camellia, are we setting off? Because Camelia's staring at the scratched off name and just thinking, and I'm waiting until we're like underway before I say anything. Any objections?
Before you
No
continue, what I would like to say is that we got 2 acts of God, and one of them was a positive act of God. So I would like the party. Can each of you please roll 1d20 for me?
Oh no.
Slash roll 1d20.
Oh, wow.
Daddy.
Well, very good. Marin, you've won the lucky, option of rolling another die for me, please. I need you to roll a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Can you just type in chat, roll 1d14 for me, please? A 1! Okay. Let's see what we drew here.
Hey, it comes and it goes.
Because we pulled an Act of God, I am drawing from the high deck. Now, unfortunately, for some reason, my deck isn't in roll 20 for some reason. I'll have to go check on that. But I did facilitate the option of a random draw. And so here's what we have. As you are all climbing onto the boat, I need to ask any of you, do any of you have a weapon, a shield, a spell focus of some kind, or any sort of valuable object on you?
I
If
got
you-
my spell component pouch and my clam, my 1,000 gold
my
clam.
armor's pretty fancy.
Okay, so I want each of you, you don't have to pick your best or your worst, you don't know what's going to happen. Pick one item in your pack that is either a weapon, shield, focus, or an object. And I want you to roll a 1d20.
I don't like any of this.
Oh my god, are you all rolling freaking... Oh, okay.
Oh no.
I'm deciding. I'm staring at my stuff. Like I
Mine-
have
mine
a
was
few.
You gotta choose. You gotta choose.
things.
I feel like
Mine was one of my my potions. I have 2 potions of greater healing, so it was one of them.
Okay, so 1 potion of greater healing.
forgot to add a dagger to my.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Okay, so we had 2
20,
1s, a 20, and a 10. And can each of you tell me what item you have? We have 1 healing potion. If you rolled not a 10 or a 20, so that would be... Marin, what did you select as your item?
I don't like this, but it was my perioperative wound closure.
Your perioperative wound closure?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, okay.
Well, I mean, unless I can just gamble just a fucking healing potion.
Yeah,
I
you
don't-
can gamble a healing potion. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen. Technically, that one item you pick could be the only item you get to keep. You have no idea what I'm doing right now.
Yeah, no, I really don't. But you did say it was a positive thing, so rolling under half, I think I'm just gonna gamble a fucking healing potion.
All right,
now.
so as you go onto the boat, and because you rolled a 20, I'm going to give you the option, Camellia. You could bend the fate of reality at this moment and decide that you instead are subject to whatever this is, rather than one of your companions. Would you like to do so?
Yeah, I'll take it.
All right, who is going to be spared?
What am I doing? G.
All right. As you all get on the boat, you feel this pang of, and even your friend Drake, all of you, as you all step onto the boat, it seems as though, despite the fact that you are in the midst of civilization, there is a small waft along the river, just a tiny little puff of the murky veil that is flowing along the top, and somehow it broke through the settlement and made its way in and just wafted and dispersed against the ship. And as it did, you can see that the silver coffer that had surrounded the gold that you gave to Drake begins to corrode, crumble, and disintegrate away, spilling the gold throughout the bottom of the ship.
Oh, Matt, I didn't give him any gold. That thing is worth 500 gold. I just gave him the thing.
No, are you serious?
It's just
Yeah,
an empty box worth a bunch of money.
Oh my
Yeah, that was
God,
worth
I
like more than double what he was asking. That's what I paid with.
I thought it was full of
Yeah.
money. Oh God. Well, that crumbles away in the dust. Likewise, one of your healing potions, Meron, crumbles away into dust. And Chi, as you are on the boat, so too does one of your items, one of your potions begin to crumble away. However, Camellia puts a hand on your shoulder as he retches up and feels that intense energy being drawn from you, and instead it gets focused onto him. What item do you have that is crumbling away into dust?
One of my daggers.
One of your daggers crumbles away and falls. When the experience passes, Drake looks down at the just coffer that was made of just so much money that has just been Thanos'd away, and just stares horrified. This is sad, right? That was a lot of money. What the hell happened? Were you all... Was that a trick? Oh, crap, but we already made the agreement. We shook on it and everything. Oh, my gosh, that's... Whew. Okay, well, you folks are some amazing luck, and in ascending order from height, tallest to shortest, that is how much I care about each of you, and if we go down, I'm saving the bird lady. Thank you all for joining us for our campaign adventure for Curse of Tamreon. We'll be back next Friday, same time, same place, hopefully a bit less scuffed, and we're going to be moving deeper within the depths of Dorswa. Thank you so very much, and have a great night.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.